What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube?
Sixers are in trouble. I need a top five.
Man, let's get into best of the week, man. What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rome. As always, Big Z's joining me. And then that guy there at the bottom, right there, I'm joined by Rice University cornerback coach, Gerard Welcher is joining us, man. Fresh off the win, the big, huge win over UAB. He's in the building. He's going to be talking and chatting with us about Rice University, what they got going on there, his overall college football coaching career, his football playing career, his early life, man. We're going to set it up. We're going to talk that action, man. But as always, thanks for supporting the channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But let's head right into it. So, Coach, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. Taking time out to join us through this, busy time. I know it's, during season for you guys. So it really means a lot for us to come on the show during the season, take the time out of your busy day.
Man, I tell you what, I'm so honored just to be a part of you guys' podcast. Like I say, I've listened a little bit, heard you guys talk some ball. So, hey, I'm just ready to chop it up, man. I'm fired up.
No doubt, man. So let's hop right into it, man. So I think, Z, before we even hopped on, man, you said, I'm going to let you lead it, Z, man. Go ahead, man.
Big win on the road at UAB, 30-24 this past Saturday. Amazing performance right off the bat. Jumped on him real quick, 7-0 lead, and then to get the turnover. Just what was that experience like, and what was the reaction of the players, the kids, everybody else, everyone on campus?
I tell you what, it was crazy from start to finish. We really been pushing our kids. We talk about giving them the green light. Just go, man. Just go. And our kids, they hang with us. They believe in us, which is huge. We try and put them in the best position possible to be successful week in and week out. And, they executed the game plan pretty much flawlessly. You always have crazy stuff that happens during games. And I tell you what, to go down and score. Well, let me say this. It started off with Juma Octaviano, his first career kickoff return. And he's been a starting running back for us in the past. Wow. And this is amazing young man. He returned it to the 50. So that got us going. You know what I mean? Like he was one block away from housing it. And so then the offense went down, scored, come back. They get one play. The kid misses the tackle, comes back, causes the fumble. We recover it, go down, take a 13-0 lead because we don't do anything easy. We missed the extra point. You know what I'm saying? And then, they came back and they scored and they ended up going up 14-13, but our kids didn't blink. It was like 20-14 at the half, and then the second half they just balled. I mean, we only gave up a field goal in the fourth quarter, and it was a little nuts, just trying to get everything organized and but like I said, our kids hung with us, and really it came down to the last couple of plays, and they actually scored a touchdown, but there was a holding call, so it got called back. You know what I mean? And they got a big-time wide out and a big-time tight end. And I was so proud of my corners because, the thing today in college football is just throw it up to a big receiver. Yeah. If you don't make the play, it's PI.
Exactly.
Well, on the day, we had their big-time receiver had 8 targets, which were all down-the-field targets, and he had one big-time catch. You know what I mean? So that's huge that we was able to shut him down and shut their guys down. So that call got called back. They had to go through it again, and we was able to knock it down and game over. It was the first win by a conference opponent, anybody since they came back to Division I football like 5 years ago. Nobody has won in Birmingham, so that was huge.
Wow, that's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah, that is huge, man. Like I said, I was shocked, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know you guys had some balls. I know this is not, I've looked at some of your recruits and some of the guys that you've been shuffling in and out of there, man. I knew you guys were much improved, but I was not, and I think Z, I mean, you can even test. We were not expecting that, man. I mean, UAB, for the passive, college football fan, UAB has been a juggernaut for the most part all season, putting up major points. And you guys did a number on the QB, was it Hopkins?
Yeah.
You guys made real difficult for him.
Yeah, we knew he was a danger, especially when he booted. So we won, but they only most of the time booted one way. So we
Right.
tried to set our game plan to stop him from booting. And, we had to play a freshman because some of our injuries. And this young man, DJ Arkansas, he did a tremendous job. And, he got his first career sack. Like, he hasn't played all year. He's on nobody's depth chart. And he probably played 40, 50 snaps, 40 snaps,
Whoa.
And we just kept putting him in position to be successful, tried to keep it simple, and was like, look, dog, go get that quarterback. Like, that's your job, right?
Yep.
Do your job. You got one job. That's it. Go get him. And he did a fantastic job.
We always talk about being prepared in any aspect of life for that opportunity when the opportunity comes to be able to take advantage. Anybody listening out there,
that's it. Like Eminem said, you get one shot.
One shot.
Yes. You get one shot, man. Like I said, and we're seeing it. We talk a lot of college football, NFL football. These guys are dropping, left and right. Injuries, come.
Yeah.
You're the backup. Make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you not falling asleep in film. You staying prepared because you never know when your time may come.
One play away, as they always say. One play.
Hey, that's why we preach: get ready, stay ready. And then another thing I think we do really well. I learned this a long time ago, and it's like teach to your least, so that everybody's involved in your room because you don't know who you're going to need at what point. Yeah. And the worst thing in the world is be like, all right, I need you, but you know what? I haven't talked to you for a whole year. You don't know nothing. I didn't think you was ever going to play. You know what I mean? So you do yourself a disservice and you do the kid a disservice. So you always got to teach to your least.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So, man, like guys, we started out the show. I know we usually dive back into, our guest history. So, but we had to get that out of the way. Like I said, that was a huge win over UAB, man. But
at UAB.
Yeah, at UAB. Like I said, not at home. You know what I mean? It's on the road, hostile environment, enemy territory. Before we hop into like your early career, man, like what were the guys and the coaching staff and the kids, like what were you guys feeling like all week? Like, did you think you guys had a game plan that, that transpired that really could, win the day?
So here's a little tough thing about Rice. So like, we used to play in the Southwest Conference back in the day. So a lot of times when you look at our non-conference schedule, it's a beast. We went down, we battled Arkansas, and it's hard to get up 2 weeks in a row for two big games. So, we went to Arkansas, we battled, we came home, we was flat against Houston. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then Texas, Texas had just gotten beat by Arkansas, and they come in to play Rice, and Texas was like, we're not having it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, Bijan Robinson is the truth.
Oh, so, yeah.
And it was
he's a freshman, too. Isn't he a freshman, the running back?
He may be
he's
a freshman, something like that. I try to forget him, honestly.
I hear you.
And then we come back home and we get our first win against Texas Southern, the HBCU.
Yeah.
And I played at HBCU. I've coached at HBCUs, and I got another coach on the staff played at Morehouse. I actually recruited him to Morehouse. He's coached at HBCUs, but nobody really understands how much talent is at HBCU.
Yeah.
And there's good coaches there. So, it was a little bit of a dogfight. We won. I think people in those games think we should just win like 85-0, but that don't happen. Like I tell my wife, they give scholarships. They want to win too. They practice.
Exactly.
And then we got a big win against Southern Miss, had the bye week, went to UTSA, and that they got that thing rolling over there.
Yeah, they a ranked team too, man.
Ranked team.
Yep.
And they've been together. They got a bunch of 6-year seniors because of COVID, so they're doing
makes sense. Okay.
They're doing a tremendous job. Their head coach is doing a tremendous job. Shout out to the previous head coach Frank Wilson because he did a hell of a job putting that team together. Didn't get a chance to see it to come to fruition, but that's our business. But not to take anything away from the present head coach because he's doing a tremendous job, and they're going to have a chance to be probably top 15 by the end of the year.
I think so too.
Which is outstanding. So then, when we come back, we know we're going to be all right once we get back in our conference. And even though UTSA was a conference game, they beat La Tech 45-16 this week. So they for real. What I mean? So our kids believe in us. They know we're going to do everything we can every week to put them in the best possible position. And then shout out to us to Wally Green, who's been a journeyman quarterback here, in and out the lineup. And he came in. He was offensive player of the week in the conference, threw for 203 touchdowns. But that's a kid. He come to work every day. He the same dude every day. You know, sometimes it goes his way, sometimes it don't. But he come back to work. So, you know, hats off to him. And you know, so it's just amazing kids we work with.
That's beautiful, man. Like I said, I'm happy you pointed that out. I was actually going to get to it. But, yeah, Wally Green, man, he had an amazing day. I mean, he was not part of the problem at all. He was part of the solution. 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards. And the key thing is no picks. You know what I mean? He kept the chains moving and didn't put you guys, you know, on the defensive end in, you know, bad situations where you had guys had to make up for mistakes. So, you know, shout out to him and the whole Rice coaching and player staff down there. But before we get into, you know, the weeks ahead, man, let's talk a little bit about you, Coach. So for the people that don't know, tell us a little bit about you, your early life, where you grew up, and did you play any sports, man?
So I'm originally from the south side of Chicago. So I always joke, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm really from that part. I'm from Chirac. So I'm from the south side. But I had a very interesting childhood, because I lived in a middle-class neighborhood on the south side, but I always went to Catholic school. Wow. You know what I mean? So, but I took public transportation. So it was crazy because, you know, I'll be on the bus with the ballers and the shot callers and shirt and tie going to Catholic school. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. And, you know, I'm 51 years old. So there was a time when I would get on my bus in my neighborhood, and I was at the beginning of the route, right? And we would go all the way, and we would drop kids off at Julian High School, Percy L. Julian High School, all black high school. So 3/4 of the bus would empty. Right. Literally, we would cross the railroad tracks. We would pick up a handful of black kids. Then the rest of the way, the next 25 minutes was all white kids getting on the bus. Wow. I mean, I went to high school in 1983. This is 1983 to 1987. So it was wild. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I told everybody, I went to a predominantly white, all-male Catholic high school. When I was there, we was 2,000 all-male. Right. And we weren't the biggest in the city, you know what I mean? But some tough South Side kids. And, you know, you look back on your life and one of the craziest things growing up, my mom really never talked to me about racism, but I experienced it, but it was just in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, I remember coming home because I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. Okay. You know what I mean? Right. And I played football 3 years, basketball for 2, and I wasn't good enough to play baseball for my baseball team. Because you imagine if you got 2,000 all male and you only got 25 dudes on the baseball team. Yeah. That thing rough. Oh, you know what I mean? Rough. But I can remember coming home from basketball practice, standing at the bus stop, bunch of black kids in a predominantly white neighborhood, and you would hear click, 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 click. Whoa. Right. And for the longest, I didn't know what that was. But if you remember back in the day when you hit your power locks, that's what they sounded like. So people would roll up to the bus stop and lock their doors. And I'm like, this crazy. We in shirt and tie. Right. You know what I mean? Don't trust you. Yeah. And then it's the 80s. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yes, I did that. Left there, got a scholarship, played at Morehouse College. Nice. So that was an unbelievable experience. Everybody be like, how'd you graduate? How'd you make it through? Like the AU Center, like it's just so wild. I'd be like, I don't know. I just knew my mama said I couldn't come back home, so I had to graduate. You know what I mean?
And for anybody that don't know HBCU, like wild, like what? Like what do they usually mean?
You mean the historically black college university? Yeah. Or, yeah, that and like the AU Center was Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, and Morris Brown was kicking. Yep. And back then,
all right there, right?
All right there. And Georgia State was like 10 minutes away. Georgia Tech was 10 minutes the other way. I mean, you would see some of everybody at our campus. And you know, funny thing, I work with one of my dudes I work with. We like the same age. And he was like, man, did you ever go to Freaknik? And before I could say anything, I just looked at him and he was like, my bad. I was like, dude, did I? Like, whew. So
right. Yeah, like I said, I just had to put it together for the people that don't know, because a lot of people that don't know about none of that, don't know about HBCU, don't know about the culture, and period. And like I said, the audience
I literally drove 12 hours from my school, Kent State in Ohio, to go to Brick.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm a Sigma. I met Soros from University of Oregon. I'm like, they got Zetas out there for real?
Yeah.
But I'll tell y'all a really wild story is, so on my recruiting trip, right? I go down, my mama drive me down to Morehouse, me and this other kid for the weekend, and like Division II, they not paying no bills and nothing like that. I had a little scholarship offer. So I get there and it's on a Friday and I pull in, and back then, when you got off I-20, there was no parking garage. It was just open space by Spelman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they was having like a beer bash 3:00 on Friday. I was like, I ain't say nothing. I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm peeping this. And so then, it is crazy that I'm in this business, because all the stuff we do for the recruits, they did none of that for me. Right. So I go get with my host, we staying, and like, the football houses were like trap houses, but it's cool. Ain't nothing but football players up in there. Yeah. But then we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken on Friday night. Right. And it's these 2 6-foot AKAs in there. One light skin, one dark skin. So I turned to my homeboy and I'm like, yo, is it like this? Is this? He was like, yeah, dude, like whatever. Like, this ain't nothing. I'm like, for real? Like, I'm 17. Yeah, all male high school shirt and tie. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this all right. Yeah. And so the next day they take us down to Clark, Atlanta. Wow. And they're filming School Days. The scene where they're in the gym doing the butt. So that was my official visit weekend. And they was like, you want to be in it? Just take your shirt off and go in. I was like,
hey,
that's wrong. But my homeboy was like, nah, I don't know if we should really do that. I was like, bro, what's wrong with you? Like,
right.
You about to get left. So, but yeah, so that was my visit weekend. So by the time I got to Sunday, and they was like, well, what you think? I was like, what I think? I'm coming.
Like, where I sign at?
Right. Like, why are we even still talking about this? Like,
yeah, man.
I'll be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that story, Coach. Like I said, HBCUs, man, they just different, man. Like it's a lot of fun. The bands are better. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Rice. You know what I mean? But yeah.
No, it is. And so when I graduated there, I got my degree in finance. Graduated from there, I started coaching there, and I didn't know until the last semester that that's really what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something with sports. I joke all the time and tell people I was the original sports management major because I had like finance and PE courses, right? All my electives were like PE. I'm trying to graduate, but I got these finance courses. So I'm like, I was the original sports management major. So I knew I wanted to do something like that. Jerry Maguire had just come out. I didn't want to be an agent. I had a professor who had been an agent. He's like, dude, you do not want this life. Like, it's good if you got quarterbacks and they first rounders. When you're dealing with 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, 7th rounders, baby mama drama and all this, he's like, you don't want this life.
Yeah, that's
like, you're right. Man. So I got lucky enough. I started coaching at Morehouse. I did that for 3 seasons. And then we got fired. And I end up for about a spring practice at Cheyney University before they closed down their program.
Okay. Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So while I'm at Cheyney, because I followed the head coach there, because he had went back there. And while I'm there, back then, we're talking 94, 95, everybody didn't have cell phones.
Right.
So I call home one day and my mom is like, somebody call here for you. I was like, who? She's like, this guy, Bill Thompson from Boston College. He wants you to call him. I'm like, Mom,
wow.
That's big time. Like, I need that number. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop playing with me. So I call him. I get the interview, and I've been very fortunate most of my life. If you let me interview, I'll get the job. My problem is being I don't get the interview. I don't get to the table. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I go up there, I interview, and they was like, Billy was like, look, bro, I got your resume. I don't know you. We want to hire a Black GA, and I know you went to Morehouse, and I know A Different World was filmed down there, so I figured you had to be Black.
Well, just like that?
just like that. I was
Wow.
like, okay. All right, well, let me go interview. And fortunately for me, I had coached for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I had to do everything, dude. Like I had to do film exchange. And it wasn't like computerized. It was like, take this VHS tape, go meet this dude at the Waffle House in South Georgia at 7 a.m. Sunday morning and bring me them other tapes back. Or go down to the Greyhound station, put it on the bus to go to Savannah, and then you got to go back at 4 o'clock in the morning to get the tape off the Greyhound bus. And then when you go back, the black lady at the desk is like, it's back there somewhere. Go look.
Back there somewhere, though.
Right. Like I'm like, imagine like a cage and I'm crawling over people's stuff, like looking for a box of tape.
Right.
I mean, that was young coaching. You know what I mean? Bring it back, start breaking it down.
That is wild, man. That's wild.
So yes, I got my shot at Boston College. Did that 2 years. Unfortunately, that ended not well. We got fired. One of our kids got caught gambling. It was a huge gambling scandal in '96.
Oh, okay.
And so that was wild. And then I ended up going to UMass. I'm there.
Okay.
I ended up getting married while I'm at UMass my first year.
Oh, nice.
It did I got one child. I got one on the way. My first job. I'm making $20,000. My wife like, how we gonna do this? I'm like, don't worry about that.
Yep.
It did like. My head coach resigns after the season. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. But fortunately, I get rehired. 98 UMass, we win the FCS National Championship.
Nice.
It was unbelievable. Our starting tailback was Marcel Shipp. You would recognize that name.
Yeah, from the Cardinals, right?
From the Cardinals, you know.
Wow.
But and then we actually had, so on defense, nobody talked about it, but we had like 6 dudes that spent time in the NFL.
Oh, yeah?
But nobody talked about those dudes because they weren't, you know what I mean? They were like backups. They were career journeymen.
Right, but that's still a huge, that's still a huge, huge. 6 people.
Dudes, you know. So after I did my 4 years there, I left there. And my head coach came in one day and was like, look, I'm about to either go to the Seahawks or the 49ers to be their quarterback coach. And I was like, whoa. I looked around. Nobody in this room was going to be the next head coach.
Yeah.
Because Donnie Brown, who was the defensive coordinator at Michigan, was our DC. He had left and took the head coaching job at Northeastern.
Okay.
So there was nobody left who was going to be head coach. I was like, I'm deuces. I went to Cornell. I tell everybody I did a 3-year bid upstate because that's what it was like.
Yeah.
At Cornell, you know, Ivy League kids, smart kids. It was great.
Yeah.
The thing that saved me was they had ESPN and they had BET Uncut. I was all right. I'm living all right.
Yeah.
And then I left there after 3 years. We ended up getting let go, and I ended at Lehigh.
Okay.
And I was at Lehigh for 10 years. I was a defensive coordinator on 2 separate occasions.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was the first time I became defensive coordinator, you talk about choices you got to make in your life. So, like, I get named defensive coordinator in 2005. And I'm going recruiting. I get 2 phone calls. One was to go interview for a DB job at Bowling Green. But at the time, that job only paid $35. I was making $70. So I'm like, I can't do that. Like, my credit cards don't know D1 from FCS.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Like, they know pay me.
Right.
And then I had got a chance to be the Northeast scout for the Cardinals.
Nice.
But my kids were little, and I didn't want to leave the field. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I passed. My head coach left. I got rehired at Lehigh. I just went back to coaching the secondary. It gave me a great opportunity. I learned the 3-4 from Dave Kotulski, and then I was the coordinator again. The last 2 years, we went 10-1, 8-3. They fired me. They said that they weren't happy with our progress or whatever. I was like, dude, we went 8-3 with no talent. Like, you know, I'm making miracles out here, but all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I went to a D2 school, Seton Hill, for 2 years. And actually, the dude that I originally replaced, by then he was the head coach at the D2. He hired me. I was there for 2 years. I left, went to Delaware State, where I coached my son for 2 years.
Wow. Nice.
So that was cool. You know.
What position did your son play?
Free safety.
Okay. So, nice, man. So you got to coach him firsthand.
Firsthand. So I tell you something that's crazy. You appreciate this going to Morgan. It's one thing about when you suck, you get to be everybody's homecoming.
Right.
So dude, like, what? I was like, man, I ain't no South Carolina State get down like this. We was at Central's homecoming, and we was at G-Ho. Like, we went to everybody's homecoming. We was their homecoming game. I was like, man, I'm kind of insulted, but this kind of live at the same time. You know what I mean?
Might as well enjoy it while you're there, right?
Right. So I did that for 2 years, and then I got very fortunate. Our defensive coordinator here, Brian Smith, actually played for me on that 98 championship team.
Nice.
So I was actually coaching receiver. I started off on defense, switched to receivers, but he was a DB, and he had spent time in the NFL. Him and the head coach here, boys. So he brought me in to coach the corners, and then at the same time, Cedric Calhoun, who's our D-line coach, I actually recruited him, and he played for me in Morehouse.
Oh, nice, man.
So he got a chance to come here. So it's cool. Like, the three of us, we like the three amigos. Like, you know, we get it cracking all the time. And the kids love it because we're real with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you know, even from when I was, you know, getting scouted, you know, coming out, you understand, you know, not at that moment, but the real from the fake, you know, and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I said, I think kids kind of respect that, man. And kids nowadays, you know, they pick it up on it right away, you know.
Oh yeah, and they will eat you up if you're not real with them.
Yeah,
they'll eat you up. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, man. But like I said, thanks for laying that out, man. Like I said, that's just an incredible, you know, college football just coaching career, man. Like, I don't think a lot of people want to understand like what it takes to, you know, coach and make your way up through the ranks, man.
Let me tell you this. It takes it takes persistence. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you, like, when I got fired at Lehigh, I think they expected me to get out the business or do something different.
Right.
I had to go in every so often, meet with the AD because they were still paying me.
Right.
And I remember one conversation, he's like, well, what do you think you're going to do? I was like, I'm trying to go to the league. And I think I kind of shocked him when I said that. And I'll be honest, I didn't really think I was going to the league. I just wasn't going to let them mess with my money.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I was like, I'm going to the league. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, okay. He's like, well, what do you need? I was like, well, I need you to pay for me to go to the NFL Combine so I can go meet some people and go to the league. Because the more he helped me, the sooner he could get me off his payroll.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I took advantage of it. I did it, conventions, all of that, you know, and it just worked out. But, you know, the other thing I tell a lot of young coaches, like, dude, your wife, especially if you're going to have kids, she got to be an OG. Like, my wife is an OG. She's from the South Side. She's Chi-Town's finest. She, you know, I tell her she bad and bougie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I like, just because she walking around with a Louis Vuitton, don't get it twisted now. She'll
hey, you know? Let them know, you know.
You know what I'm saying? So, but if you're going to be in this business, you need somebody like that, especially because you're going to be gone a lot. And when I got fired, I went that job at Seton Hill. I commuted for 2 years from Pittsburgh. I never moved my family.
Wow.
So I was back and forth for like 2 years. You know, my son was in college, but my daughters were there. And that was my biggest fear. You know, daddy ain't home with the girls. Like, you know what I mean? And then when I went to Dell State, by then my oldest daughter had went to college. And then I transferred her to Dell State her second year. She actually won the national championship her freshman year in field hockey at Shippensburg.
Oh, nice. Shout out to her.
You know what I'm saying? Then she transferred to Dell State, walked on the softball team. So then, you know, so I could be around. That was only 2 hours. I would be back and forth a lot more. But, you know, like my wife allowing me to do that, my kids seeing the big picture, my baby girl, who we call her the prophet, she was like, Dad, don't worry about it. She was like, you getting ready for a big comeback. When you come back, everybody going to be sorry. And I was like, all right. That's how she is.
How old was she saying that? How old was she?
She was like 14, 12, 14. She like, Dad, don't even worry about it. They don't understand.
Damn.
Right. You know?
Excuse my language, but yeah. I mean,
I'm with you. I mean, I was like, okay, yeah. You right.
Right. Like, what you guys had her watching some motivational speaking, you know, type of shows as a kid.
And you know what's really wild about her is this is the child when her brother and sister were playing sports. She was sitting in the stands with her back to the field, talking to me and my wife. She didn't even pay attention.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like my daughters, especially her, like any dude that want to date them, they a problem because they know football. They know a lot. You know what I mean? They know
Right.
basketball, they know baseball, and they know it on a higher level. Like my youngest came to me one day. She's like, Dad, this dude trying to talk to me. He trying to tell me he going to the NFL. I was like, okay. She was like, I told him you got to be on the squad first. He's not even on the squad. How you going to the NFL? You're not on the
Right.
squad. I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
they trying to grease him up. Come
right,
on
you know
now.
what I mean? Like,
My dad's a football coach.
right. She's
Stop
like,
it.
don't play me. So, yeah.
That is funny, man. But like I said, you said something, man. I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I'm pretty sure a lot of people watch the show. What's the was it Last Chance U?
Right.
Well, a lot of these coaches, you see them, with their families and stuff like that. And you see like the wife and stuff like that, man. Like you said, you need a good woman to do that, man. I mean, like I said, especially the positions that you sometimes put in and things like that, man. And like you said, you had to travel and being away from your family.
Yeah.
So you guys, at the end of the day, you guys are doing it for a good cause, and I really respect that.
Yeah, it's tough, and like my wife, she tell people, she be like, "Yeah, I'm a single mom during football season. I ain't around." You know what I mean? I try to be around a lot during the off season. I've helped coach a couple of my kids' teams in the spring. Kind of be in and out.
Right.
But no, she's like, "Yeah, I'm a single mom during football season." So, and like we have some friends. Like since we moved to Houston, they didn't really understand that, and the more they're around us, like one of our friends was joking the other day. She had a dinner party, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is Gerard's seat. We'll leave it open."
Right.
And then she was like, "What day will he be back so he can fill this seat again?" Because I'm not around.
Yeah,
but they understand it. They get it. My daughters, they come to the games. My son live up in D.C., but they all be like on the games and watching it. And then when I come home, I won't say they have questions for me, but they have solutions to problems.
So they try to coach you up.
Oh yes, let me tell you something. I get coached up a lot, and it usually isn't my son who played. It's the girls. They be like, "Yo, Dad, you need to do this. Why you blitzing so much? What about this?"
What?
She was like, "You need to get out that cover too." I'm like, "Yo, for real, like." Really, this is what we're gonna do right now,
Hey, you might have to add them to the coaching staff, man.
You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Why coach call that? Why he call that play? That's not a good play." I'm like, "Come on, stop."
That's crazy, man. Z, you had a question, man?
So during your time in the Patriot League, you had a ton of all Patriot League players play for you, and so what was the development of a player coming in? Because I mean, at that level, they're similar to Rice, academically strong and also athletically.
So let's go back to something I said earlier, academic goons, right?
Okay.
So when I go look, like my bad students got 3.0s. Those are my bad students, right?
Wow.
And they got to have the matching SAT score, and they got to have a good class rank, all that. But there's a difference. And once you're in the business, especially I've been doing this so long, I did 3 years at Cornell, 10 at Lehigh, and now 4 here. So like 17 years of my career, I've been around high academic kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of know those kids. And some kids, they're football players who happen to be smart, or are they smart kids who play football? I want the football players who happen to be smart.
Right.
And when you're around them and you talk to them, you just kind of feel the difference in them and things like that. And so you go out and you get them. You got to have some further recruiting area. I was very fortunate. Half the time I was there, I recruited Atlanta. So I recruited a kid, Will Rackley. I call him a kid. He's like 30 now. Will Rackley out of South Atlanta. And he ended up being the 3rd round draft pick for us. You know what I mean? Like, and I had a bunch of other kids from Atlanta that played. But you got to understand, like, most of the kids that we got out from Atlanta were DBs, linebackers, a couple receivers, go to Florida to get them, and sometimes people think, well, you have to go to these big factory high schools to get your kids.
No, you don't.
Nah, you don't. Like, I kind of like it when I roll up in there. Like I recruited a couple kids out the Philly area. They were the only kid at their school, but they had the grades. They could flat out play. So I recruited them, and they turned into players for us.
That's nice, man. College, high school kids, I hope you heard that, man. I mean, like, you got to get the grades together. I think a lot of these kids, don't understand a lot of the times, what it takes, academically, and they might think they're a baller on the field, but either they can't qualify or they got to go. What do they call those schools? I forgot what
they got to go to JUCO or sometimes
JUCO
school. And let me say this too. I think that as much as it is the kids, it's the parents too.
Yeah.
Because you have to be demanding, and you have to set a standard. What I mean? Like I started in my own house. Like my son was a 3.5 student. I told him he wasn't working hard enough.
Wow. Yeah.
I told him one time, I said, look, dude, I know how smart you really are. Like, don't be trying to play me. You know what I mean? Exactly. And then like my daughter, typical middle child, if he was 3.5, she was going to be 3.9, 4.0. Wow. My baby girl, she don't care about neither one of them. She just knows she can't bring home no bad grades. So like in result, we still get what we want. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we set a standard, and like there's a standard to adhere to and things like that. So
that's cool, man. So as far as
a point I wanted that he made. So a lot of times these high school kids keep transferring from maybe more in basketball, but they transfer to the bigger schools thinking that's how they can be seen.
I guess now, yeah. Especially with the transferring rules in the NCAA, especially college football, have been uplifted. I guess with the transfer portal, is that what it's called now?
Portal, yeah.
So, matter of fact, how do you feel about that, man? I mean, has that affected you guys heavily, or in a good way or bad? Because I mean, before it wasn't always like this, right? Before it was like if you had a D1 school and you wanted to transfer to another school, you had to go to D2 or transfer down.
Have to go down, right?
Yeah, until you come back
or sit out a year.
Or sit out. So here's the deal. Yeah. If you understand that most of this stuff is created for quarterbacks, believe it or not, they won't say it.
I can see that.
Right. So quarterbacks can transfer. Well, you just can't make it available for quarterbacks. You got to make it available for everybody.
Right.
Right. And even as much as the 4-game rule that you can play in 4 games and still be redshirted, that's a quarterback rule, because you remember you used to get to bowl games. Yeah. Your quarterback is hurt. You got to make a decision whether or not you're going to break this kid's red shirt for 1 game or one half. Well, now he gets 4 games. So if you do it right, it never becomes an issue. Yeah. I think the transfer portal, I have a friend that works in NCAA. He was like, yeah, it's a mess. But we gave the kids what they wanted. They wanted to control their own destiny. They wanted freedom. So we gave it to them, but the kids don't understand. As soon as you put your name in that portal, technically – your current school does not have to honor your scholarship. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of kids that jump in the portal and then they don't have no place to go. Or they have some uncle or cousin or somebody trying to be a street agent and negotiate deals behind the scenes.
Right.
And just because I'm at one school, it don't mean I'm going someplace else and be a starter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like even when I played at Morehouse, like I'll never forget, we got a guy that transferred in from Wake Forest. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to been all of that. He wasn't better than our outside linebackers we had.
Right.
When I was at UMass, we got a transfer from Notre Dame. He wasn't better than the linebackers we had.
Right.
So
man.
now you stuck as a current coach because you done told this kid, come in, we're going to play you. So now you got to create like packages to put them on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he really not the dude.
I know what you mean, man. Like I said, I just thought it was, like I said, I was shocked by it. You know what I mean? When they started, creating the whole transfer portal thing. But like you said, I mean, it does seem like you said that, it's a quarterback rule, them, because it just seems like they want these universities that like are quarterbacked away to have a quarterback on their staff. We see these universities that are supposed to be good, or NCAA wants them to be good, and they're like a quarterback away.
Right. And let me say, think about it like this too. NCAA is a money business. College football is a money business, right?
Very much so.
So if I got a great number 2 quarterback and he dissatisfied, it's bad for the game. Mm-hmm. Let's take Joe Burrow, Ohio State. Right. Dissatisfied, wants to transfer. It's bad if Joe Burrow transfers to Youngstown State or James Madison to play, because that's money gone.
Exactly.
But if he transfers to LSU, he stays at the same level. Now, unless you can go win the national championship. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
there were so many quarterbacks that would transfer, and then, like, the FCS schools would get them.
Right.
You know, or the HBCUs would get them.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody be mad. Well, you know,
Yep.
you only play one quarterback. I mean, I'm sorry. That's what it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly, man. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yep.
As far as let's hop on the other side a little bit. I want to get your opinion on the I don't know if you guys are affected by the NAI. It was the NAI stuff.
NIL.
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 I'm sorry. NIL stuff. The NIL deals. What do you guys think about that? Like, I mean, does that affect you guys in any way, shape, or form? Or
It
like
does. It
kids walking around with big heads? You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I was a little bit worried about that. It doesn't seem to be that, because here's the deal.
okay,
There's only a handful of kids who are really getting big time deals.
I figured, yeah.
Everybody else is getting like a hamburger and French fry deal. You know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
really getting nothing major.
Right.
But like here at Rice, before any kid signs any deal, it has to be approved by our university.
Okay.
And every state's rules are different. So like in the state of Texas, you can't use anything related to Rice University.
Right.
Where in Ohio, you can use the school's logos and things like that. So there's some negotiating there. But the thing that people don't understand is if you make more than about $6,000 or $7,000 a year, it now affects your financial aid, your scholarships. It can negatively affect that.
Wow.
Right.
Did not know that.
Right. And then these companies, you're their employee, right?
Right.
They're gonna give you. So how you gonna file your taxes? Or they're gonna give you a 1099. What do you do with a 1099?
Right. Yeah.
I'm 50 years old. I haven't learned to do with a 1099. What they gonna do at 22 or 18?
Exactly.
And are the parents savvy enough to know what to do with
Take care of
that?
that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So now you got to hire an accountant, right? Because you just can't go to H&R Block with all this scenario. You got to hire somebody for real to manage your stuff. So now, are you really making money? Is it really worth it? You know, and I get it because I grew up with the Fab Five like everybody else. I get it, the likeness deal and things like that. But I look at it like this. If I'm a salesman and I go work for IBM, and I'm salaried, and I sell $1 million worth of product,
right,
I might get a little bonus,
right?
I ain't getting whatever. I get to keep my job. You know what I mean? Now, if I work for commission, that's different. But you know, in Division I football, men's and women's basketball, everybody gets full tuition, room and board, cost of living checks, like Pell Grant. Like you really not doing bad. You know what I mean? Go get you an apartment with a couple of teammates, 3. You're gonna put some money, $500-$600 a month in your pocket. That's more than I had when I was in college.
You
know, some months it may be more than I got now after I pay my bill. You know what I mean?
So, I hear you, man.
And you get your education paid for, and you got the training room and the training table and all of this stuff. So
yeah. Like, thank you for clearing that up, man. Because like I said, I did not know. I didn't even think of it that way. You know what I mean? But like I said, you were actually in the business, so you're seeing this on a day-by-day basis and a daily basis. So thanks for clearing that up. So as far as your next game, Coach, man, like I said, you guys are coming off that big-ass win over, man, UAB. You guys are playing, at home, I guess, this Saturday versus North Texas.
Yes.
So North Texas, man, was it North Texas Mean Green, right?
Yeah.
They have been a solid team for a long time. They've been, I think, a few times they were ranked.
Oh yeah. They've in the past years, they're down a little bit now, but don't be fooled. They got talent.
Right.
It just hasn't come together for them yet.
They battled Liberty last week. They battled Liberty, 26.
like they battled SMU.
Yeah.
Like they gonna come in here and they gonna battle. They can run the ball very well. They've had some receiver injuries, but they can throw the ball. I mean, so that's the thing about college football more so than the NFL is it really is about any given Saturday. You know what I mean? Like
it is.
You better show up, you better play, or you're gonna get upset. I mean, like last weekend, Kansas had Oklahoma on the ropes. They couldn't close it.
Yeah.
But they scared the hell out of them. You know what I mean?
Sure did.
So any given Saturday and
Navy almost beat Cincinnati.
Navy almost beat Cincinnati.
They did.
So yeah, it's crazy, but you can't take anything for granted. You got to go back to ground zero every week. Every week has to be Groundhog Day. We got to start from the beginning. We got to build it up and go from there.
Right. Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't want to hold you too much longer, but Coach, I guess who are some, like I said, we got some, former players, current players, coaches, scouts, listening to the show. I guess what can we look for? I guess who are some of your star players on your squad, and I guess who you guys really relying on from your standpoint?
So because of our injuries is kind of wild, that like you're going to see a lot of personnel on our defense, but I think Ikenna Inichukwu, number 91 defensive tackle. I think he's a dude. Nice. Elijah Garcia plays right next to him, 92. He's a dude. Desmond Baker, linebacker, we just got this year. He's been really phenomenal for us out back. I think Gabe Taylor is coming into his own as strong nice. Safety. The two corners, really, Jordan Dunbar and Miles McCord, have played really well for us on defense. And then on offense, it's kind of running back by committee.
That's good.
But you're going to see some dudes in there who can go. August Petrie has come back off an injury, wide out. Jake Bailey, a wide out. Sid Patterson, another wide out. Like, one of the things we had to do when we got here 4 years ago, I think we were the slowest team in America.
Really? You think it was that bad?
It was that bad. So one thing we've done is we can probably go out right now and honestly put together 2 or 3 4x100 teams and compete.
Y'all boys fast. I see.
You know what I'm saying? We had to get fast. And before, when we talk recruiting, when we talking skill guys, one of the first questions is, he got times? Are his times verified?
Right.
And we're talking 100, 200, long jump, whatever. Like, we need verified times. Because we can't afford to take slow cats. We just can't.
Exactly. Especially at the skill positions, yeah.
Especially, so we'll give up a little bit of size if that dude can fly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's hard to cover speed.
It's hard. Yeah, you got some guys that can fly now, man. I mean, like, especially at the receiver position and even at the cornerback position. I saw you guys flying around making plays, on the ball. You guys definitely got a good group of guys and everything, Z, did you have anything else before we let Coach go, man?
I wanted to ask about the award you got, being part of saving the individual who's drowning, the kid who was
matter of fact, yeah. That was incredible. Yeah. That was incredible, Coach. Man, you got to elaborate. I forgot all about that. Good.
So it was so literally we had moved to Houston, and my wife had went out of town for work. So me and my youngest were at the swimming pool. It was like our first time going to the swimming pool. And most of the communities in Houston, like in the suburbs, they have pools in the community.
Okay.
Like they're built pool house, everything. So we're down there.
Right.
And I had an older brother that drowned. I was like 4. He was like 9. You know what I mean? So my mom, being a single mom, I didn't learn to swim till late. But I had to learn in high school. That was part of the deal. We had to learn how to swim. And then since I've been coaching, probably for the last 20 years, every other year I have to get recertified in CPR and first aid, just part of being a coach, right? And then something you'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'm never using this. I work with trainers. I'm going to call somebody. I ain't doing this.
Yep.
And so we're sitting there and I'm watching this little boy and he go into the pool. And the first thing I said, I was like, man, this little dude, the G, he like 2 or 3, whatever. He just rolled down in the pool. And then as I watched him, I saw his head come up a couple of times. So I'm thinking, is he playing? What is actually going on?
Right.
And I just kept watching. Then he went down and he ain't come up. And then I got up and I started walking around the pool. And I'm talking to my daughter and like I'm taking off my hat and shoes and stuff as I'm walking. And I saw he was down. I just jumped in. I grabbed him, came out. And as I came up out the water, I yelled at the lifeguards. I was like, yo, call 911. And literally, that's how you get trained. Like when you spot somebody down there, like, check the scene, call 911. I came up out that wall. I'm like, call 911. Yeah. And I went right into compressions. And then, you're supposed to do so many. He was so little. I didn't want to hurt him. Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, this kid is full of water. I got to get it out.
Get it out, yeah.
And I was like, only thing I could think of, being a coach, being an athlete my whole life, you get competitive.
Right.
And I'm like, you ain't dying on my
not today.
Not today. It ain't going down like that. Some other day, Yep. It was like a game of 21. I ain't losing today. Like, I'm walking off this court, number one. And so I just kept going. And I remember, like, we're talking like July in Houston. Wow. And I'm on hands and knees doing CPR. And, like, they was like, well, we'll take over. And the girl started. And I was like, no, that ain't good enough. Move.
Right,
and I did it till the paramedics came and everything. And I remember when they took over and I went and sat down, my knees had burn marks from the hot pavement.
Yeah.
But my adrenaline, I didn't feel nothing. Like,
you didn't feel nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
You didn't hear the battle. Yeah.
So we got him to the hospital and they kept saying, man, that's awesome. We don't know if he's going to make it. And he was so little, he just kept passing their benchmarks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the point now where they've gotten him, he's kind of like a kid with a severe autism. But, like, really, I brought him back. And I just kept going and going and going and going. So it was crazy.
Sheesh.
And it's just one of those things. Like, I would hope somebody would do that for my child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was trained for it. I can't say that I was ready, but I wasn't scared. I was like, yo, it ain't. I couldn't stand there and watch somebody else's kid die. Like,
exactly.
I'm just not wired that way. We going in and we're gonna fight, and we're gonna fight this thing out together, and we're gonna figure it out.
Wow, that incredible story, Coach. Man, like I said, I know me and Z was talking and chatting about it before. I know he said he was gonna bring it up, man. Z, thanks for bringing it up, and Coach, man, like. Like I said, that's incredible, man. Like I said, you just never know when you're gonna be utilizing those skills, man. So, you always got to be observant and be aware of what your surroundings are. And you saved their kid's life, man.
Yeah, so it's amazing, And my wife is always like, "You should tell people." Like, I'm like, it's what's supposed to happen in this world, right? Yeah. Especially with kids. You see a kid die, you're not supposed to let nobody's kid die. Like, if you can help it, So. But it's kind of like what I said earlier, right? Get ready, stay ready. You know what I mean? Like, get your guys ready, stay ready. You never know when your number going to be called. And it's funny now because, like, I'll be out and somebody will start choking. Everybody look at me. I'm like, yo, they are. Right? They looking at me like the savior. I'm like, whoa. Slow down now.
They funny, man. They know too much. That is funny, man. Coach, one more thing before I let you go, man. As far as HBCUs, I know it looks like a lot of former players are making pushes to transfer, to coaching towards HBCUs. You got Deion Sanders out there. You got Eddie George. And all of these former athletes. I even was it Marshall Faulk or doing something too? I forgot.
Your head coach.
Who's that?
At Morgan State.
Oh, what's the dude's name?
Tyrone Wheatley.
Tyrone Wheatley. Yep. And he brought in the receiver. I forgot. Jacoby Jones. I think he's out there. But yeah, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? I guess like they're trying to help, bring awareness to HBCUs.
So I'll say this: the mission and the goal of HBCUs has not changed.
Yeah,
it is to give Black folks opportunities, even though they may not have played there for whatever reason. It's hard to say I'm gonna go, play at Delaware State when I got an offer from Ohio State. I mean, come on, man. Like,
right? Yeah.
Like, you tripping, right?
Exactly.
So it's hard to say that, but a lot of kids. Parents have gone to HBCU, so things are near and dear to them. But at the end of the day, I've been in this business for almost 30 years, right? I've been coordinator. I've won championships. I've only ever had one head coaching interview.
Wow. There you go. And that was the other thing I was gonna. I'm sorry to cut you off. That was one of the other things. How difficult, because the other coach we had on, Coach Willie Edwards from Brown University, talked about black coaches not getting the opportunities to move up. Not getting the chance to be good coordinators. But not head coaching. Not being the face of college football or NFL or wherever.
Right. And I think like for me, I kind of get it because I had no pedigree when I started in this business. I came from Morehouse. Ain't nobody from Morehouse been in the league and nothing like that. So I had no pedigree. There was nobody like Bobby Bowden or, somebody like that. They'd be like, oh, yeah, you played for Bobby. You one of Bobby's boys. We're going to hook you up with this job and this job. No, everything I did, I grinded. You know what I mean? I've been on my grind since day one. So I'm kind of self-made, so it hasn't been anybody like that. And then, like I said, I only had one. It was for Howard University. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, when I interviewed, it was like 2007. It was a hot mess at Howard. And I had a great job at Lehigh. And I told my wife, we had the discussion. She was like, you don't have to take this job they offer. She's like, this thing is crazy. I was like, I know, but when are we going to be back? When are we going to get another shot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes as a black coach, you're forced to take a bad job.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when you're going to get your next shot. Yeah. So, and I just think that's the biggest thing. I think, the James Franklin, I know James is doing a tremendous job. Yeah. A man in Maryland, tremendous job. Like when you get those opportunities, you have to find a way to succeed. You know what I mean? So that the next dude gets a shot. Because when you fail,
we all fail.
Ain't nobody else getting no shot.
You know what I mean?
And the last thing I'll say about it, and then once you get your shot, the things that happen to you, like Charlie Strong got his shot. He did
in Texas. Yep.
Well, no, first at Louisville.
Oh, he was at Louisville. Yeah,
he was in Louisville. But then him and Tyrone, you get your shot. Tyrone was at Stanford. Well, then they get these next jobs, these lifetime jobs.
Right.
But they not really made for us. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Right. A black head coach at Notre Dame. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I love Notre Dame. That's not for you, dog. Exactly. Like Charlie Strong going from Louisville to Texas. I understand the financial implications, but you could be great at Louisville.
Yeah. Right.
Texas, you're going to make more money, but you're on the clock.
Yeah.
So what's more important to you? You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes people don't understand that. And the coach told me a long time ago, he was like, look, every job ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
And you got to understand that. And I get that. I understand that. There have been some smaller jobs that have kind of like inquired about me, but I'm like, if I take that job, I'm done.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not ready to be done. I'm not ready to retire. I'm not ready to wrap it up. You know what I mean? When I first got married, I told my wife, when I retire, I'm going to Savannah State. I'm going to be the head football coach, the AD, and I'm playing golf every morning. That's going to be my deal. Right? So I think I still got a few years left in me before I even think about doing something like that. But no, I mean, seriously, that's it. It's just opportunity, and you got to be a coordinator. And that's one reason, to be honest with you, when I had those other opportunities, I didn't jump on them. Because at that time, I was the only black coordinator in the Patriot League or the Ivy League.
Wow.
And that was 2005. I was the only one.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was like, so I can always go be a position coach at D1.
Yeah.
Right, in the MAC.
Yeah.
I can always get a scout job later. How many people are going to give me an opportunity to be a coordinator?
Right.
Yeah.
In a non-black conference. I got to ride with this, and I got to be good. And, if you look at my record, I think the 3 years I was coordinator, we was 26-7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, we were pretty good.
Right. Man, Coach, thank you for bringing that up, man. Like I said, thanks for coming on the show. And, just thanks for laying that out, man. Because, like I said, me and Z, we talk about it. When we go in on it all the time, man. Like, we call it out when we see it. We just don't like it. I just hate seeing, these coaches just be giving – these just given every opportunity to succeed where, these black coaches, they have to fight for every little damn crumb, that they get and not getting the opportunities and work their way up through the ranks and things like that. But, like I said, thanks for coming on the show, Coach.
Yes,
Anybody?
I appreciate you guys. Let me drop one more nugget for you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever done this.
No doubt.
There's a book out there by William Roden, Morgan State guy.
Yeah. Okay.
$40 Million Slave: Rise and Fall of the Black Athlete. Read it.
40 million. Okay.
It will drop so much knowledge, and you'll be like, wow.
Beautiful, man. Yep. I'm gonna check it out, man.
Morgan State alum, yes, sir. Yep. But no, man, let me tell you, I appreciate you guys, and this has been awesome. I love chopping it up, talking ball, and I just got one more request from you guys.
Oh, sure.
Take it easy on my Bears. Justin Fields is just a baby. He's just a baby. He don't know no better yet, right?
Okay.
Don't know. There's only been one quarterback who come in as a rookie and is great. His name is Tom Brady, right? And he's still playing. Don't know the rookie quarterbacks come in.
That's me. I ain't gonna lie. I'll take full ownership. Anybody that listens to the show knows I go over Justin Fields. Listen to his first read. He can't get away from it. Now Z and my boy Jay, he's not here today. They, like I said, they give him, some slack. But for me, like I said, maybe it's just me. I'm a hothead, man. Like, I'm a former defensive end. You know what I mean? I don't think I just go get the quarterback.
Right.
In a couple weeks, he gonna have to face T.J. Watt. We covered.
Right.
We covered.
Coach, anybody you want to shout out, man, before you hop off the show, man?
Man, you know what? It's so many people. I don't want to leave anybody out. It's just so many guys who have helped me through my career. I thank you, from the smallest guy to the biggest guy. And, I give a big shout out to my family for standing with me, holding on through some of the rough years, and they understand that, they get it. And, so I'm just so appreciative. And you know what? I will name one guy. He is currently the track coach at Morehouse College, Willie Hill. He was my defensive coordinator. He's the one that recruited me. He's the one that got me there. He wasn't able to see me finish, but everybody who played for that man loves that man, and we love him so much we intimidate him. You know what I mean? And anyway, so he's awesome. But I will give a shout out, and I thank him and Mo Hunt, who's the head coach at the time, for getting me to Morehouse. And I'll just leave you guys with this. When I played for Willie Hill told us one time in a meeting, he wrote on the board, goal line, but he spelled it GOLD line.
Right.
And we was like, Coach, that's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
He was like, nah, baby. He was like, cause what? That shit is gold. He's like, see, I can get another U, but I can't get that touchdown back.
Right.
My man, Willie Hill. Let me tell you something. To this day, I be in the room looking at my players like, bro, I can replace you. I need to get 7 points. Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, but no, fellas, I appreciate you. This has been awesome.
No doubt, so man. Much. Like I said, we'd love to have you on at some point later in this. Like I said, I know you guys are busy, man. Go out there and punish North Texas, man. You know, what I'm holding you guys to a different standard now, man. You know what I mean? So, everybody, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out Coach Welcher out there this Saturday when they play North Texas at home. Rice versus North Texas. We'll see you next show.
Yes, sir.